It depends. As a lawyer, I can say that it depends. As a human being, I can say, well, who cares? But mostly it depends on a certain situation. For example, for relocation, for obtaining new citizenship and all that stuff, of course, it's better to get married. But in other ways, from time to time, it's unnecessary. But still, as a lawyer, I would say that it's better to register almost everything you do.
I don't think it's necessary. That's all I'm gonna say, I think. I don't, maybe I'll get it someday, but I don't, and I don't want to offend anyone, but I don't see the need in marrying someone. If you love someone, you can be with him. So why marry for a symbol's sake or something? I don't know. But I'm totally fine. You can get married, but I think I don't need to get married or want. Not that I have anyone to marry, but yeah. I don't know. I don't think it's necessary. No.
Why?
I don't know. It was like, yeah, we need a groom. Yeah. And Chris like, oh, I want to be the priest, so he's the groom. Because he looks like a groom. With his nice young look and his hair and blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, I can be a groom. So there was basically no discussion about it.
Okay, and probably you had any ideas for special guest stars? No?
No, because the groom actually is one during the wedding. It's one of the main characters, and all the band members should play a main character. So the priest, the groom, and then we were thinking about other main characters like the best man and the rest of us. But yeah, the first two were priest and groom. But there were no other candidates. If it was my own suit or if it was borrowed. That suit actually is the suit I am wearing for the ensemble shows. So I bought that in 2017 or so, I guess. I had that made. And I still wear it ever since, so yep, that's mine.
Take 5, because I can put on the dresses of my 15 or something.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope it fits for the next 10 years. Otherwise, I don't want to spend again that amount I spent on another suit. No, actually I didn't. It was, we had one big brainstorming session regarding that video on tour in Würzburg, where we basically covered the whole story of the video. And at the beginning of that video, we already had all the main characters figured out, but we didn't have a story yet. So it came during that brainstorming that there are people kissing, but it certainly is not bride and groom, but it has to be groom and someone else. And the funniest thing would be the priest. So yeah, I didn't know about it at first, but it didn't matter because it's a kiss for a music video. It's nothing. It's acting. So
No, it was a bit bigger, but it wasn't noticeable, and it was pretty okay for me to put on the wedding dress with that exactly wedding dress and to film, and it was pretty okay. The only thing I was worried about is that it was a vintage dress. It was from 1964, and it was actually Chris' mom's dress, and I was a bit stressed with it because, you know, it's like a memory, somebody's memory, and when a certain person gives you an opportunity to touch and to work with this memory, you feel very responsible for it.
There weren't really any difficulties, except for the temperatures outside, because my hair is naturally a bit curly, or even a bit more curly, but I always blow dry the shit out of it every morning, so it's kind of straight. And we had like a fixing gel, wax, or whatever called brisk, which is like a traditional old man's hair gel to like do this. It's basically like pomade, and it's pretty strong, so I just had to put a shitload of this in my hair to make it the way it looked in the video. The only thing was, if it got too hot outside and I was too long in the heat, then it got curly again, so I had to wash that. But wasn't really any yeah, wasn't really any big difficulties, except for putting more brisk in my hair all the time until I smelled like an old dude. But yeah, there weren't really any. And now I actually consider wearing my hair like that during the ensemble shows, because I kind of like it. Maybe even keeping this one. Yeah, I know.
I remember that moment when we were running around the church. Kiara was shouting, "Where the hell is the hairspray?" And that exactly that guy on which you are staring at. He stole the hairspray, locked the door, started to straighten his hair.
Well, it had to be done. I had to take care of it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry again, Kiara, for stealing your hairspray.
You should say I'm sorry to Garrett because he became curly at the same time. And we were like,
oops,
I don't know, like a freaky Greek family with curling hair all the time.
But we eventually made it happen. I gave it back to her, so. What kind of person do you think the groom is? Why did he act like that? He arranged the wedding, but didn't take the ceremony seriously and was planning to deceive the bride. Drama.
Maybe he wasn't planning to deceive the bride? What if he was tormented by doubts and decided to took the decision on the very last time?
Yeah.
Or maybe he was under the spell and the sound of the Chris voice released him.
Yeah.
Brought him back from the world of shadows.
We already talked about that, but yeah. I guess that was it. I mean, the minute the groom saw the priest, it was like, because of the hair. It was the hair of the priest, I guess.
So he just felt about the guy with this ponytail, okay. Well, also he could be a good friend, right? And they all together, they were managing his romantic gay skateboard.
Maybe. You
Yeah.
never know. There should be a sequel to that and a prequel.
Actually, this type of grooms are pretty popular. At first, they arrange the engagement. They cure brain with all the preparations for the ceremony. And in the end, they fucked it up. I saw it twice, at least in my life. And, you know, it was disgusting. It happened with a friend of my sister, yes. and it was not quite very good.
Oops.
Yeah. Gay escape. So,
Gay escape.
New hashtag gay escape.
We had a gay escape. I like that term. No.
No, we were following the final version of the script, and that's it.
Basically, yeah, there were minor discussions about, oh, which hand is the ring hand? Where do we put the ring? We don't know. And initially, I was supposed to drive the car, and Chris was supposed to get in. Actually, we changed that for some reason.
It was not on the very last version of the script. The very last version of the script, I guess there was Chris who was waiting for you. No? I don't remember.
Yeah, me neither. I should remember, but I don't. Oops. I'm just the groom. I just waited for the gay escape, so. I think the funniest filming moment either was I laughed pretty hard at Nick when I saw his scene coming to the church and crossing my name. That looked brilliant, and I really laughed hard at that. But during the kiss with Chris, I laughed a lot because, come on, it's like we should kiss and then look at each other for a few seconds. It was pretty hard to not laugh. And then again, during the ceremony, looking at Chris was pretty funny. Yeah, I think that was the most funny things. For me, at least. What was for you the funniest things?
For me, it was pretty funny to do my best to pick up the organist. At the same time, I was trying to fall down from the bench because it was very squeezy. And at the moment when I sat, and that was my first action, and I had to flirt with Jared. And then that exact moment, I understood that I'm doing something like, oh, I'm falling down from this bench. Yeah, it was like, oh, and of course, the Chris reading the Evangelion. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, that was pretty good. And I remember that scene when you were flirting with flirting with Jared, and he was looking at you, and he looked so high, as if he smoked, I don't know, 3 blunts or something. He was like, "Yo, who are you?"
Because it was really slow motion horror. Slow motion horror with a very high Jared.
Yeah, very high Jared incoming. That was really nice. That's actually not the scene that's in the video, but an outtake of high Jared.
Unfortunately, there are no outtakes as far as I remember.
Well, yeah. Matteo probably has a lot, but
not for
not for
demonstration. Yeah, I remembered another funny story about the video. Just at the moment when the section of the keys started to be filmed, all the family of our groom arrived to the set.
Oh yeah.
It was a total fail.
That was good.
So I was standing in a courtyard. On the left hand of mine, I was watching this gay escape or whatever. And when I took a look on the right side and understood that, the guests have already arrived. Who the hell are the guests? I don't know who they are. And he was like, that's my family.
Yeah. Well, they arrived on time, I guess. But
so we received all in because from one side of the church there were family meeting. From the other side of the church, some fans have already arrived. So just in time. Just in 1 hour prior. It was like perfect timing.
Requesting hilarious episodes or local multilingual jokes.
Na pizza.
Yep.
Yeah. I learned, Chiara, how to say in Russian to get drunk. Napиться. But the thing is that for Italians, na pizza, it's like a na pizza? Pizza? What's about
Like
pizza? Yes. And they were like very surprising with this na pizza. And after the end of the filming process, when we all met each other in the bar, the first thing that Chiara shouted when they saw me, na pizza!
Yeah, I know you taught me one thing, and you told me earlier today about and now. What was it? Ubitis? Yeah, and now Ubitis? And now Ubitis. Yep. But I think it's appropriate to say that.
Jared was practicing playing again, and we heard a lot from his playlist. For example, Gothic Romance of Cradle of Filth. Yeah, it was very surprising. So yes, it was very interesting to hear it. And what was Super Mario? What else?
Yeah. He played Super Mario. He played a lot of stuff. He definitely had fun playing the organ a lot of times. He blew a lot of trumpets as well.
Yes.
That sounded like farts. Yeah. Yep. Basically for me it is the twist in the escape. We initially talked about someone waiting in a car. We didn't know if it was the groom or the priest or whoever. And we talked about the bride getting out of the church with actually the priest. Like in cutscenes, you see the priest escaping, you see the bride escaping. And you see a car, but you don't know who's in it already. And that was, I think, my idea, to have the twist to see someone of the groom or the priest in that car. And to have like the twist, oh, the bride isn't even getting out with someone, but she's being left alone. And then the kiss happens. I think, but I don't want to make it my idea because it was a brainstorm between all of us. So we all found it pretty funny that there should be a kiss between groom and priest in the end, and the bride is, I don't know, left behind or is leaving with the best man. Yeah.
Okay, and as for me, the only thing that I brought to this video, I mean, like, creative thing, was playing Come Clarity solo on the rails. That was all. Come Clarity up and flames.
But it's
sorry, guys.
Yeah, there we go. It's the details that matter. Our names, Wendy and Ryan, we always joke about our porn names, right? If we would be porn actors. So Jared would actually be Max Load, and Chris would be Reinhard Lochmann. And we thought, because there are a lot of subtle comedy aspects in the video, our names should be somewhat of porn actor names as well, or like symbolize something dirty, because Ryan Wemsen is like, do you know what it means? Ryan Wemsen? Do you know that?
Why are you looking at me? Just ask the chat.
Yeah, I'm asking you actually, but it's like pounding very hard someone. It's like pounding someone very hard.
I heard the explanation from Jared, so
yeah,
I still remember that joke.
Yeah, and Wendy Loudstride is basically Wendy screams loudly.
So it's logical logical end of the rhyme. I don't know.
Yeah, it is.
Easy.
It basically is. It basically is. But yeah, we wanted to have our names like, yeah, oh my God, there we go. That's why we have those names. Yeah. They're totally made up, but reinwemsen, wenn die laut schreit. Ja, richtig.
Yes,
That's our
yes,
name.
exactly. What was that?
If we would have gotten married, you'd actually be Wendy Wemsen.
When I read these names for the first time, I was like, tell me, guys, please, are these names are names for porn stars? And I think it was Jared who said, you knew it.
Yeah, well, you knew it. Yeah, they kind of are. Nah, I don't. I rather felt uncomfortable for a second, or not uncomfortable, but it felt weird when there actually were our family and friends entering the church, and I was standing in the kitchen of the church waiting for the wedding ceremony with someone dressed as a bride next to me. I was like, that feels weird, because there's actually a lot of people at this that actually would be at a wedding, that if that would ever happen, that would be at my wedding. That felt weird for a second. It's like, that looks pretty real. Everything looks pretty real. But uncomfortable? No. I don't think you felt uncomfortable. I don't know.
I don't know, me neither. I work with cameras.
Yeah. So
Nothing to add.
I don't know, because I've never directed. So I think, as far as now, I enjoy acting more. But I can't say.
And would you like it more on a regular basis? I mean, like if you receive a suggestion to participate on a TV show or whatever?
Depends on the TV show. But if it's a TV show where I like the concept, why not? There's no acting reputation I have to lose, I think. So why not? I think that would be funny.
I don't know. Should I answer this question or not?
I don't know. You choose. You can choose to answer or not.
Well, the only thing that I can say is that I am doing acting on a project basis, not on a regular, but on a project basis. But with the years, I think with years I started to like more directing, especially when I have a chance to participate in the direction on the fighting scenes for TV shows or full movies. You know, it's just priceless, because when I have a chance to support a stunt coordinator to to give him, I don't know, not like advices, because it's impossible to give any advice to stunt coordinator, but to suggest any options, yes, it's very interesting for me, it's inspiring. And in case we're doing some video sketches with fighting scenes, all the time if I have a certain character, I'm doing most of her actions of her fighting. I'm doing by myself, because it's interesting for me to find it out. How will it look like? How to mix techniques? How to make it more emotional or less emotional? Depends on the idea. So it depends. But directing is a very interesting experience.
Funny thing is, someone said you filmed TV of the Lost, so you kind of directed. But that would assume that we are having a script, kinda, or that we should follow something we thought of. But that's not the case. what you see on TV of the Lost is not scripted. It's just what happens in the moment. Oh, maybe if we think, oh, we have something really funny happening at the moment, we'll maybe at some point redo it, but it actually I think there will never be a script. So no, we basically did not direct anything by filming Lord of the Lost, TV of the Lost. Yeah.
But in any way, it can be considered as direction of editing direction.
Yeah, maybe.
I guess not. It was still very okay. No, neither stresses nor dramas. There was no extra situations. I don't remember anything extra.
Okay, that's force majeure. All right. No, I don't think so.
So, guys, it was very well organized. Oh, at least to drink. It was very well organized protest. So, as for me, it was very interesting because on every set, on every filming process that I have ever participated, something went wrong one way or another. It's not because of a bad organizing or something like this. It's just about it's okay. And in this case, it was for me not okay, but it was because it was like program scripted before, step by step, and everything went well.
Yeah. Actually, during filming, I think you've experienced that a lot, and we've certainly experienced that during filming music videos. There's always, or for the most part, there are timing issues at some point because you have to overshoot during some scenes to get the perfect shot. But this time we didn't have any timing issues. It was like on point all the time. That was.
And your prayer.
Huh? What did you say?
And even prayer, your scene with Chris, I remember it was. It should take you about 1 hour of filming, but it took you 35 or 40 minutes.
Yeah, right. We actually finished earlier the first day, the everything. Nick.
No, the organist.
No, actually not. And that was pretty weird. To shoot a music video without the song. Because usually we have performance scenes and to film those slow-mo scenes, we have the song actually in double time. And the click in double time to perform to it, so our movements seem bigger when you put it in like the actual timing. But this time it was completely silent in the church, except for stupid jokes being made during scenes, or but that's it. We didn't listen to the song.
It was like in a party system.
Yeah.
Some party in our head.
Yeah. Just had to sing along to it in our head.
Alright, guys.
Yeah.
See you next time, somehow, somewhere. Bye bye, Beam. See you.
See ya. We'll talk.
Ciao.
Ciao.